From the east to the west, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and it is time for the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles Live, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great, and I hope you are feeling the same, man. It is a beautiful Tuesday in the state of California. It is getting kind of nippy out here, but we still got the sun out, so it's all good. So pretty much, man, let's jump into our first topic. That's going to be Brady miracle on Monday Night Football as Bucs come back to beat Saints 17-16. And man, I know a lot of us was last night. Everybody's like, just when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? And boom, there it is. It happened. So, pretty much here we are. Seriously. So pretty much this is a place where we can just really look at this league and be like, man, this is the only 45-year-old that that can do this. There were a lot of bad decisions made by the Saints late in the game as well, too. But what this showed me last night is the grit and determination of the Buccaneers in general as a team. And this could loom a danger in the playoffs for wide open NFC. Let's just keep it real. The Cowboys and Eagles are levels ahead of everybody, but the one team that can actually beat them and beat everybody that's in the NFC is the Buccaneers. But this isn't the same Bucs team that we're used to over the last few years. They weren't really that good last year either, but they were good enough, to get a bye, all that good stuff. And then the year before, yeah, they were good. They were good, but they kind of had an easy route to the championship, except for, beating Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. So I just really do feel like last night, the stats don't say that they won. That's the funniest thing about last night. Brady had a real regular game. He had 2 touchdowns, a sack. He got sacked, and he threw an interception last night. Fournette only had 49 yards. Chris Godwin was their lead receiver last night. Mike Evans was only caught 4 balls, but he was still good last night as well, too. But there was just a lot of things that worked out very, very much for the Buccaneers last night. They did have and the craziest part about it is they won this game on 2 turnovers as well, too. And the thing is, from what I see here, Tom Brady threw the ball 54 times last night as well, too. So there's just a lot of things that worked out for the Buccaneers last night, in my opinion. And I think this is something that everybody has to take a little bit more serious. I know they're 6-6, but when teams have to work as hard as they're working to get to even win their division this year, and luckily they're not playing in a good division this year, it really does show that it takes a real army of guys to believe and do what they got to do to get to the end goal. So I just hope that the Cowboys and Eagles do not have the mentality that they've already made it, because this team right here could be the team that really goes and is annoying. We really don't want to see the Bucs again, in a Super Bowl situation. We much all rather see them get put out in the wild card, but I doubt that's going to happen. I think Brady has a win or two in him as they try to get to the Super Bowl again this year, because they're not thinking that their season's already over. They know that they have a real opportunity to be in the playoffs, but they do have to hold up as well, too. Even though they did get a great win last night against this team, they still do have a little bit of, some climbing to do. Atlanta's still kind of creeping around the fog a little bit. And then you still do have another game with Carolina as well, too. But Carolina is their season's kind of in the rut, but they're still looking at playoffs as well, too, in a crazy way. So it is what it is. But we move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into our next topic at hand, and that's going to be what happened last night in San Francisco. The Warriors wind up losing last night, 112 to 104, as big favorites this time. And once again, this was their second loss at home. So this team is not looking good. I've been telling you guys that all season. After the first game against the Lakers, they've been pretty ordinary. But you can go ahead and look back to their numbers and tell yourself this: the Warriors actually have lost 10 games on the road, and they've lost 2 games at home. It's just the tell all of their season, to be honest with you. 13 and 12 year right now, and 10 losses on the road. That's a lot of losses on the road to start your season off, in my opinion. And then you're doing good at home because you always do good at home. But they did start off the month pretty good, and they were able to win 2 out of 3 on their home stand as well too in this spot. So they have that working out in their favor, and they got good wins as well too. But it was the Bulls and Houston, 2 teams that do have losing records, and then the team that has a winning record they wind up losing to. So when you look at the numbers last night, it was an absolute gem of a game for Andrew Nembhard, who's just absolutely coming of age right now. The kid actually was the one that hit the buzzer beater against the Lakers, and it's his rookie year as well too. So he was asked to step up huge. He went to Gonzaga as well too, and he stepped up big for this team right now. And literally last night they had a lot of they only ran 10 deep last night. They had a lot of players hurt. Tyler Halliburton was out, DeWardy was out, McConnell was out, Theus was out, and they still were able to manage and win this game. They got a great effort from Buddy Hield last night, who hit 4 threes. Even though he had to shoot a lot last night, he still was able to help this team get to exactly where they need to go. Jalen Smith had himself a good game last night as well too. He's been actually balling a lot lately for this team. Had a great game against Sacramento, had a great game against the Clippers as well too. And he comes in last night. It was huge with 9 rebounds as well, 3 offensive. And then also Mathurin, who's a guy that I like a lot, the kid from Canada. He went ahead and he had himself a game last night as well too. He dropped 14 in this spot. So they got a good mix from their starting 5 last night, in my opinion. And then they were able to get a good effort from Brissett and Jackson as well off the bench. They totaled 27 points themselves. So that was pretty good for a team that just went 9 deep last night. And Brissett's 3 threes were the difference in this game as well too. Now you look at the Warriors numbers. The Warriors were pretty good last night. You had 28 points coming from Klay Thompson, and then you had Jordan Poole get his 23 last night. But after that, it was a big fall off. Steph Curry, a guy who's averaging 30 points, only had 12 points last night and was 3 of 17. That was some putrid shooting, and he was 20% from 3-point last night. He was 2 for 10. I think that he was kind of he did have a nagging injury or something like that. But honestly, like, if he had a nagging injury, you guys could have sat him out, but he decided not to sit out this game and wound up having probably his worst game of the season, even though he scored 12 points. When you look at the numbers, it's just like, wow, Steph, that wasn't good at all. So because in total, you're going 5 for 27, from 3 and field goal. So it just was not a good, well, I'm sorry, not 5 for 27, but you jacked up 10 threes. You only hit two of them. You jacked up 17 shots, only hit 3 of them. So, Steph just did not have a good game last night. So it is what it is at the end of the day. Also, you have the bench that was really dragging last night. DiVincenzo got 10. Kuminga had 10. But after that, it was kind of whatever last night. They got 13 more points after that. But the bench has to be a lot better than what they were. And as usual, Draymond Green, 2 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. The guy really does not do as much as he thinks he does. So it is what it is at the end of the day. The Warriors are a team that we all know that are going to get it together. But right now, you can't really bank on them as a better to really get you some money because They just are 250-50 each night. And from what I'm looking at right now, they do have their next 7 out of 8 games on the road as well too, and they play Boston on Saturday as well. So there's a lot of things that are just going into the favor of, you know, of everybody who does not like the Warriors. But this is going to be a great matchup on Saturday as well too. I know a lot of people will be into it because it will be a game that will be on ABC as well too. So it's going to be a nationally covered game. So that's probably where they have their minds at. Their next game is Wednesday versus Utah. Indiana, next time they play is going to be on Wednesday against Minnesota on the road. That will end their road trip, and that will start. And after that, they start a 4-game home stand with Washington on Friday, and then end it with Golden State on Wednesday the 14th. So they do have themselves a pretty nice little schedule going. It's going to be kind of tough as well too. So we'll see how it goes, see how it checks out, and we'll have more about this. But great game last night, great win for bettors that had the Pacers last night. I know I gave you guys the +11. If you guys went and got a little froggy and went ahead and took the money line, good for you, because that cashed out at +420 from what I saw last night as well. I want to double check though, make sure I had the right. We got the right number. But yeah, that bad boy cashed out for folks that were looking. It was actually +475. So yeah, that was a good number, almost 5-1 for you last night. So there it is. Warriors get the big upset last night. And really, to me, it's the NBA. So it's never really a big upset. It's just who brings the maximum effort. And it was the Pacers last night. So good work for the Pacers, and we move forward. Now we have ourselves a very good. Now we have ourselves Trea Thompson, who's Trea Turner, who's left the Dodgers. But we knew that was happening. The Dodgers did not want to go ahead and expand more. They did not want to put more money on the Bucs. They already have Mookie in a $350 million deal for like 13 years. They also have a pretty hefty deal with Freddie Freeman as well too. They signed back Clayton Kershaw for the next 3 seasons. I think they did a 3-year deal with Clayton Kershaw, or they brought him back for $20 million. But Clayton Kershaw was resigned. But Trea Turner was never going to be somebody that the Dodgers were going to bring back, because literally Scott Boras is his agent, and he called out a king's ransom for Trea Turner, and the Dodgers have enough in the farm to not overspend for a guy who's probably the twilight of his career is probably on the way. I know it sounds crazy right now, but after the few seasons that he had in LA, I don't know if it's going to keep carrying on, and he's going back to the East Coast as well too. I know he probably missed it very much. And when Scott Boras is your agent, he's been at odds with the Dodgers for a very, very long time. It goes all the way back to the JD Drew days. I remember Scott Boras vividly, man. Scott Boras is a guy that's actually, he knows as soon as his guys are free agents with the Dodgers, he's going to always ask the Dodgers for a big, big dollar amount. And then it always seems like these players move on to the East Coast, like to the Yankees, to the Phillies, to the Red Sox. So it was no surprise to me that the Dodgers lost Turner, but they do have Gavin Lux there to finally fill into the spot that they've been trying to put him in for the last 3 years, and that's the shortstop position. Also, they have an opportunity to now go after Bogarts from the Red Sox, former Mookie Betts teammate. So that could be something. And then Dansby Swanson is also idea as well too, because he is a third baseman, and he was absolutely tough. He was a tough guy. Well, he's a shortstop too, I'm sorry. But he was absolutely a tough guy to go against. And I think that it just all comes down to how much the Dodgers are willing to spend. They already lost out on Verlander and DeGrom, but those were long shots anyway. So I truly do feel like the Dodgers did get who they wanted to get in the pitching realm, and that was bring back Clayton Kershaw. And the Dodgers know that they do have some good prospects and good arms that are going to be unveiled in spring training as well too this year. So I think the Dodgers are more about building within the team, because they know they got a lot of really good prospects on the way up. And the Dodgers have spent a lot of money on 0 World Series rings the last few years. And the Dodgers, it's crazy because the Dodgers have won like 200 and like almost 220 games in the last 2 seasons and still don't have a World Series to show for it. So they want to make sure that they make the right moves this winter, and you just can't go ahead and chase these big name players because you think that they're going to be the quick fix that you need. I truly do believe that they are very adamant about getting Aaron Judge, which is tough because you have the Yankees in the mix, you have the Red Sox in the mix, you have the Giants in the mix, and it's literally just a bidding war. And the Dodgers, I know they couldn't give up 11 years if they're going to try to give up maybe 9 or 10 to Aaron Judge. So it makes total sense on letting Trea Turner walk. And, it just seems like everybody's going to Philly and just taking money. I know Philly went to the World Series this year and everything like that, but we know they backdoored this thing. They got real lucky that they have extra spots in the playoffs, and that's what got them literally in the playoff this year because they weren't even the second best team in the East this year. They were the third best team in the East this year. So I think that this is good insurance for when because Bryce Harper's not going to be there the first 60, 70 games because he's having his Tommy John surgery this year as well too. So the Phillies might not be as good in the beginning, but they're gonna pick it up just like they did last year, and they'll figure out a way. And they may make the playoffs, they may not. I think that they just are overspending at this moment. So we'll see, but it's an arms race. Teams want to make sure that guys just don't go to the next team. That's all it is. So we'll see how it goes and see how it checks out. But Trea Turner headed to Philadelphia. Thank you for all the great times, Trey. You were excellent. You fit right into Dodger blue. But you know what? Happy trails to you, sir. We won't hold you up. All right, so let's get to the final subject at hand, and that's going to be boxing. And we got some boxing news. We got Gervonta Tank Davis taking on Hector Luis Garcia, who's actually starting to become one of my favorite boxers in the game right now. The Dominican Republic is well represented right now. And everybody was in shock to know that this guy is Dominican and he was able to cook the way that he cooked against Chris Colbert, who was a heavy favorite in that fight that they had back in February of this year. I was actually ringside for that fight, and I was fairly impressed with Hector Luis Garcia because there wasn't much to think about when you saw the press conference and everything. But the more and more I looked at him, and the more and more I saw the kind of antics from Chris Colbert and his entourage, I knew that this guy probably would be a serious problem for him. But Chris could possibly go ahead and just do what Chris Colbert does, box beautifully and find himself a win. That did not happen at all. He got straight bullied like it was 3 o'clock after school, man. Like seriously, it was like he owed Hector Luis Garcia some money. And when he put him down, it was like, whoa, this guy got a little bit of pop to him as well too. So he got a great win over Chris Colbert that put him pretty much on the map. That set him up for the WBA title match against Gutierrez in Miami, and that wound up being a very good night for him as well too. He absolutely sparked Gutierrez. I don't think he lost a round that night, and he put on another beautiful boxing performance as well too. So I truly do think that Tank Davis, who's a great spectacle, he's a great knockout artist. He's been able to really get the attention of the mainstream media, mainstream fan bases and things like that. I said mainstream because there's people who mention Tank a lot. And when they think of boxing, they think of Tank. I was in Brooklyn for his fight against Rowley, my friend. So pretty much there was a very, very big contingent of Tank fans. Literally everybody was there in awe of Tank Davis in the same way that they used to be about Mike Tyson. I know that sounds crazy, but it is what it is at the end of the day. I've been to 2 of his fights, and they become real events, real spectacles. They bring out a lot of people. His first fight brought out all the new era, new wave rappers and things like that. And this one brought out a lot of established celebrities, including Madonna. Madonna, of all people, was at his last fight. So, this is something that people are going to get excited about. It's going to be in the DC area. This fight is going to sell out as well, too. So you got to be anticipating that. So once again, Tank has a lot of pressure on him. And this time around, he doesn't have his coach. I know Calvin's his coach for real, but his professional coach, the person that made him a superstar, what he is today, Floyd Mayweather and Leonard Ellaby, Mayweather Promotions. Oh yeah, they're not a part of this situation, and he's very loud about them not being a part of the situation. Does that call for him stepping out on his own, or does this call for his absolute demise? I don't know. But I know a lot of people said Tank looked very happy. I said Tank looked very confused and drained and like he really just didn't want to be at the press conference yesterday. And I know that he's very confident in his abilities and everything like that. And his coach did say something very significant. Don't ask us about the next fight. And we all know what the next fight is supposed to be. It's supposed to be him and Ryan Garcia. But once again, there is no contract signed for that fight. It's just the agreement they just have agreements in place. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have a fight. You have a venue in place, you have all that stuff in place, but you don't have a contract signed. All you did was make reservations. That's it. So pretty much both these guys have to win their next fights. And also they have to make sure that the money is all absolutely right where they want it to be, because I still have this feeling that it's not going to happen. So, you guys can believe anything that you want, but I don't believe anything until I see press conferences and stuff. But Tank's main focus right now needs to be on Hector Luis Garcia. This is not going to be any walk in the park for Tank Davis. By far, this is going to be his toughest fight to date. He hasn't looked that great in his last few fights. He's been able to have highlight reel knockouts. That's what makes everything look good. But I don't think he can do that with Hector Luis Garcia, because Garcia is a tough guy. He's going to keep coming forward, but he does have a height advantage over Tank as well too. So I think that if he's able to keep his jab flowing and fight a smart fight, I think that he'll be more than fine. And we know that Tank will get on his will too, because he does move around a lot in the ring when he is getting into a little bit of a difficult situation. But we all know that Tank is one punch away from ending this fight. We all know that. But when you do have that trait, you can go ahead and get really outboxed as well too. But as I said before to somebody earlier today, I said that Hector Luis Garcia is going to have to really beat on Tank to win this fight. If the fight's close, Tank wins. It's that simple, because they have bigger plans for Tank. So, and all in all, Hector Luis Garcia really does need to go in here with the intentions to knocking Tank Davis out, because Tank Davis wants to knock him out. And everybody's coming to this fight not to watch Tank get a decision. They're watching Tank to get a knockout. So it's that simple. It's going to be Tank's best fight to date. It's going to be Hector Luis Garcia's best fight to date. And it absolutely deserves to be on pay-per-view in the climate of what's going on in today's boxing. And you guys just have to understand, Gervonta Tank Davis knocks people out. You don't get to get that on Showtime on your cable for your cable bill. You have to go ahead and pay for the fight on pay-per-view. It's just that simple. Canelo was getting these type of fights once he was on pay-per-view, once he started knocking people out as well too, on a consistent basis and in a highlight reel style. And let's keep it real. Tank's last 4 or 5 fights have been on pay-per-view, and you guys have still went and bought them. So it doesn't matter how you feel and what you think is going to happen. And he's not leaving pay-per-view anytime soon. It's just that simple. All right, so there it is. That's my 2 cents on that fight right there. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and take a quick break. And when I get back, we're going to go ahead and jump into some hoops. We got college basketball tonight at the Garden. We got some big games between some ranked teams. And also we do have a Laker game tonight, so we got State of the Lakers. And then I will talk about the 2 games that other than the Laker game tonight that are on the Tuesday night schedule. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another, and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we are back. Just over here tweeting off something real quick, just firing off a tweet real fast. But let's go ahead and jump into our next topics in hand, and that's going to be up first. Let's go ahead and talk about tonight. There's the coaches versus cancer game with the number 2 team in the nation now, Texas, going against the number 17 team in the nation, and that's going to be Illinois. And it's funny because I put Virginia on accident here. Virginia's actually playing in another game today. That's a little easier for them and everything like that. But we do have Illinois and Texas today, which is going to be a hell of a game because this one is going to be at the Garden. And you have Texas as the best they've been in some time now. I remember at one point they were the number 1 team in the nation about 20 years ago or so, when that I really like that team too. TJ Ford is still one of my top 5 point guards of all time. Just I don't care what anybody says about anything that they talk about. If you watch games live and you watch games consistently, you can have your own pick of players that you really like. And I actually coached basketball, and TJ Ford is everything you ever wanted in a point guard. He seriously was. Before they figured out that he had a neck issue, he could have been a big-time star in the NBA. Like, literally, he could have been Chris Paul. And they just didn't it just couldn't happen because his neck injury was just too much. But he still played with it and still was good. And everybody has to always remember his opening night in the NBA where he dropped 30 points and had 15 assists. So, TJ Ford, I wish it would have worked out a little bit better for him, but he just had that neck issue from the football, from his football days in playing high school in Texas. So, it is what it is. At the end of the day, man, he really, really tried to hide that situation, but it was hard. It was hard to. And he should have actually been a Sonic as well, too. I always felt like Luke Rittenauer should have never went before him, but Luke Rittenauer wound up having a 12-year career, too. So, it's fun. That's the NBA, right? That's the NBA. And the crazy thing is Nick Collison was in that draft with him as well, too, and Kirk Heinrich. That's actually the LeBron draft as well, too. Carmelo Anthony, all that stuff. But TJ, they never talk about TJ. TJ was a part of the 03 draft as well, too. So you have Illinois coming in here. Illinois was very impressive to me when they played UCLA this year. They got a very deep team, and they got a lot of guys that are just very good at what they do. And they all fit the mold of exactly what it is to be a Illini player as well, too. I think that tonight they do pose a danger against this very good Texas team. But I think, though, at the end of the day, though, that Texas is playing such good basketball. And that win that they got over Gonzaga was very impressive. Now, Terrence Shannon's having himself a good year right now. He's averaging 19.8. And he had 19 last time out against Maryland as well, too. That was a good little barometer for them as well. This team is 6-2 on the season, but they do have a loss in conference play. But, it's all good. They're going against the Longhorns tonight. They've played against enough good teams, but, the Longhorns have 2 top 10 teams that they've beaten on their schedule. They beat Gonzaga at home at the Moody Center, and then they beat Creighton on last Thursday. So, they beat them by 5. But other than that, they really haven't played anybody. But tonight they get Illinois, and that's good because they already play against 2 top 10 teams. But Illinois does loom the danger because Big Ten teams don't play. That's all I can say is that Big Ten teams don't play, and you actually got 2 Big Ten teams representing tonight as well too, because Iowa's playing Duke in the other game. So you look at this, they lost by 5 last time out. They did lose by 9 to Virginia. So the 2 ranked teams that they have on they played 3 ranked teams. So they're 1 and 2 in this spot. UCLA could have won that game as well too. So Illinois is a good team. They're going to challenge you. That's the whole thing. They're going to challenge you. They didn't get beat by double digits in either one of those games against ranked teams. They lost by 9 to Virginia. They lost by 5 to Maryland. And, Maryland was an upset because they went to Maryland and Maryland got the win there. So it's very simple. And tonight they play against Texas. They are looking to get a monster upset over Texas as well, too, just like they did UCLA, who was top 10 when they played them. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. I like the way that they're coming into the game, but I just really do like the way Texas is performing this season. And I just think that they're tough, man. Texas has some really, really good players. And I think Shaka Smart, no, I'm sorry. It's not Shaka Smart who's the coach anymore. He's at Marquette now. Beard is a really good coach. He's taken his style that he had at Texas Tech, brought it over to Texas, and it's working out very well for the Longhorns at this point. But when I pick who the winner is, I like Texas on the neutral court tonight. So let's have some fun in the garden tonight, and let's see how this one shapes up. All right, let's go ahead and jump into our next topic, and that's going to be the state of the Lakers. And the Lakers tonight have a game against the Cavaliers. The Cavaliers are playing really good basketball. The Lakers looking to keep their streak rolling as they visit the Cavs. Also a reunion for LeBron. LeBron, since he left Cleveland, I think he's played there once, to be honest with you. I think he's played there maybe once. And the Lakers, did they win the game? I think they won the game as well, too. But he's really tried to avoid visiting Cleveland for some odd reason. Like, you don't want to go to your house in Akron? Because I know he still owns his house in Akron. Like, you don't want to go see the old boy, your good friends and all your buddies and everybody that, you grew up with. Like, LeBron has went totally Hollywood on Cleveland, man. Like, seriously. So, you feel for the Cleveland folks. You truly do feel for them, man. Like, man, LeBron, why you going to do them like that, LeBron? Why you going to do your people like that, LeBron? So it's all good. But LeBron, he's not worried about it. So we should be worried about it. So my thing is like this. The Lakers go into this one tonight, and I've been saying it. The Lakers have been absolutely throughout there. The Lakers have been a very moody team this year. They started the season off 2-10. Literally every single one of those games were against teams that are playoff caliber, are in the playoff race somehow, somewhat at this early junction of the season, and they just couldn't get anything done. Now the Lakers have went 8-2 since that stretch, and now are 10-12, and actually have just as many losses as the Warriors. That's what I said last night on Twitter as well too. That for everybody who was kikiing and jaw-jacking about the Warriors and how bad the Lakers have gotten, now look at here. You got the 13-12 Golden State Warriors in 4th place, and the 10-12 Lakers in last place. So it does not look good. But see, this NBA is weird this year because no team is really killing it but Boston this year. Like, people have to understand that about what's going on in the NBA. The Western Conference is a weird bag because you have your best team, Phoenix, 16-8, and then New Orleans is right behind them, 15-8, and then you have Memphis, who's 15-9, and then you have Denver, who's 14-9. My point is that nobody's like unbreakable like that, and it seems like everybody's having a real issue winning on the road as well too. Like, none of these teams are really good on the road from what I could see here. New Orleans has the best road record out of all these teams that are in first place, and that's not by that much. And actually, Denver has the best road record at 8-7. So I look at this game tonight, and I said to myself, the Lakers are right where they want to be. AD is playing some of the best basketball anybody could ask for at this moment. AD is just getting his average up nightly. He's at 28.6, 12 rebounds, 12.8 rebounds a game. LeBron's almost getting has his numbers almost at a triple-double. It's just you would want LeBron to kind of calm down on the turnovers. He's averaging 3.4 a game. You know, Westbrook's going to always have turnovers. He's getting 3.5. So that's 7 turnovers coming from the trio. Then when you add in AD, that's 9 coming from him. So they're going to have to clean that up a little bit tonight. They're going to have to make sure to clean that up. Now, the last time these two played, the Cavs were able to get themselves a win, but the Lakers were right there with them the whole night. Even though they beat the Lakers by 14, the Lakers did have a really good first half and were up 6 going into the second half. But the Lakers just had a putrid second half. They scored 36 points that night, and then they gave up 56 in the process. So, you know, it just, you know, when you get outscored by 20 points in the second half, what can you do about it? You know what I mean? So, you know, that night, Donovan Mitchell had 33 points. Jared Allen had a good night rebounding and everything like that. LeBron had 27. AD had 12 rebounds. But the Cavs were rolling at that time as well, too. They had this was really at the beginning of the year, and the Cavs had won so many games in a row at that point as well, too. I'm going back to where we were at by that point. And yeah, they were coming out of a very hot October. They had won 5 in a row, and then when they got to the Lakers, they had already won 7 in a row. So they were a hot team. Now they come into this one, they are kind of lukewarm. You know what I mean? They finished the month 2-2 after going on a 5-game winning streak, and then they're 1-1. So they're 3-3 in their last 6 games, and they got an 11-point loss to the Knicks on Sunday. So, you know, I would say this: the Lakers are a little bit better than the Knicks, in my opinion. You know what I mean? And I think the Lakers should take full advantage of this, but it's going to be tough because you have to understand that the Cavs are alternating wins and losses right now. So when teams are alternating wins and losses, it's on the pedestal for them to win today. So I truly do think that this game does wind up being a really close game. But I think LeBron has some unfinished business in Cleveland right now, and I think that he wants to send a message that who still runs that city tonight. So we're going to see how this one shapes up and shakes out. But the Lakers did lose to the Cavs by 14. And I keep it real with you. Since LeBron got there, the Cavs actually have a winning record over the Lakers as well, too. So, you know, they want to get that right. You got to get that right. You know what I mean? So we'll see how it goes. And everybody's just looking forward to watching AD. AD has just been really throwing up those wilt numbers, just being so dominant. And everybody just loves a dominant big man. I don't care what anybody says. Everybody loves a dominant big man because they can make the game look so easy, make the game look so fun. And then they show you that at the end of the day, it's your style that can help you win the game. You don't have to adapt to a run and gun situation for you to succeed in this NBA. Just play the game the way that the game's supposed to be played, and you'll be able to get the end results of it as well too. So the Lakers just want to keep things rolling. They've won their last 8 out of 10, and they got their last. I didn't want to say 2 in a row because I know they won more than 2 in a row, but they did end them. They've won their last 3 in a row, and they've also went ahead and won their last 5 out of 6 as well too. So the Lakers are absolutely killing the game right now, and a lot of people just have to understand that the Lakers are here to, you know, get back in, get to the playoffs. And when we look at the rest of the week, they got a back-to-back. So it's going to be Cleveland, then Toronto. So you might see LeBron sitting out the Toronto game or somebody sitting out the Toronto game. Then you get Philly Friday night. You got Detroit Sunday, then back to LA for Boston and Denver and Washington next week, then back on the road. So there it is with the Lakers. Their next, I just named off their next 6 games. So that's what you guys need to be looking at for the Lakers. It's a game-by-game situation with them. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But Lake Show looks to be back right where they want to be. So There it is. There it is. All right, we move on. Let's go ahead and talk about NBA Tuesday night. NBA Tuesday night. We got ourselves some intriguing matchups. It's really TNT Tuesday night. So usually when TNT's hosting games, they try not to have a lot of games because they want to showcase certain games. They want to get all the money that they can. They just don't want to be spreading out games and nobody's really caring about those games. They just want to make sure that you're into the national game. And tonight, the Cavs and Lakers kick it off in Cleveland, and then the Nuggets and Mavericks are the nightcap of that situation. But the game that gets caught in the middle of that is going to be the Pistons at the Heat. The Pistons coming in here 6-19, the Heat 11-13, losing last night by 8 points. The Pistons are actually coming off of a win the other day. They won by 4 points to be exact, and they got a good win over Dallas as well too. So they do have that to hang on their hat a bit. So you have a Detroit team that is really going through the motions right now. I look at their stats. They are top 10 though in turnovers a game, 13.8. So they're not giving up the ball that much, but they're still one of the worst shooting teams in the league. Field goal percentage is 28th, and points scored a game is 23rd. Even though they're getting a lot of points scored on them night in and night out. But you look at their team and you say to yourself, they got 7 guys in double figures. But that just means that they got different lead scorers every night. But their rookies are doing good, man. Cade Cunningham is out for the foreseeable future. Jaden Ivey's playing really good. Bay is playing really good as well, too. Burks is having himself a pretty good year. And Marvin Bagley, a guy that I was really high on, he's still dealing with injuries right now, but he's coming along as well, too, getting almost 13 points a game, almost 7 rebounds a night as well, too. I thought Marvin Bagley was going to be a lot better than he really was. I think that it was an absolute kind of fail in a sense with that draft. You know what I mean? Those guys have never really played to their potential, except for Aiden. Aiden's played really good, but Marvin Bagley going to Sacramento really was a detriment to his career. I think that Sacramento held on to him a bit too long. He'll get it together, but I just really feel bad for the guy. And then Isaiah Stewart, the guy that tried to fight LeBron last year, he's getting 12 points a game as well, too. So you look at this and you say to yourself, damn, you guys got 7 guys in double figures. How do you only have so many wins on the year? That's just because this has been a unit that's had a lot of players in and out the lineup, and that's just what happens. And then, Norland's Noel hasn't played much this season. Kevin Knox is not playing that many minutes. Corey Joseph's not doing much either. And then you got Jalen Duran, a guy who they're really heavy on, their rookie. He's been having some good spots in games, but then there's games where he's just held out the game. He scored no points in his last game after having 12 and 11 in the prior games before that. So it's a rebuild in every sense of the word. So they're just going through the motions right now. They did lose on Sunday, but they did get a good win over Dallas this month as well too to kick off the month. But they lost by 10 the other night to Memphis. So this team is just going through the motions, but they are giving up a lot of points, like I keep saying. As I said before, the Heat, they're trying to get everything together. The Heat have actually went ahead and won their last 4 out of 6 to be exact. So, that loss last night to Memphis was kind of, it was kind of just out there. It was going to be tough. It was going to be a tough game regardless. Damn near everybody was out. Tonight, they should have Jimmy Butler in there. He's reconditioning right now, but I think Butler should be in the game tonight. Tyler Hero seems like he might be a go tonight as well, too. So we're going to see how it goes, but I would check that injury report tonight. But I still think that Miami's going to be able to it's going to be a loose game tonight because it's a back-to-back. And once again, Miami's another team with 6 guys in double figures as well, too. And then once you go after that, they're pretty decent, but their bench is kind of whatever to me. So pretty much you're looking at this. They haven't had anybody play every single game this season either. So there's a lot of things that you question, and you just need Jimmy Butler to start being not hurt. It's just that simple. for Miami to move forward and really do something at this point. But I do like the over in this spot, over 220, or the over 223 here. So we'll see how it goes. Actually, over 220. I'm so sorry about that. So yeah, I like what I see here. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. Now we do have ourselves two good ones tonight. We got ourselves the Mavs and the Nuggets here, and this one should be a fun one because these two have played each other twice already this season. And from what I'm seeing here, it looks like this game, this has been the Mavs all day in this series this year. The Mavs actually have held this team under 100 points in both of those games as well, too. So this is a real one right here. This reminds me of a real playoff matchup, to be exact. And actually, they split 1-1, and that was because it was a back-to-back home situation for Dallas. Dallas beat them the first time 127-99. Then Denver came back around a few days later, beat them by 1. So they're 1-1 on the season, but they haven't scored 100 points on them yet. Denver scored 99 in the first game, and they scored 98 in the game prior to that. Now, coming into this game, the Nuggets have been killing it to end the month in November. They've lost the first two games of December, losing by 8 to the Hawks, and then they lost by 15 on Sunday to New Orleans. So they're trying to bounce back tonight at home against Dallas before they're back on the road against Portland. And then they finish up the week against Utah on Saturday at home. So they're trying to get back into the mix. They are the number one team in the Northwest Division. So they're trying to make sure they can secure that lead because Portland's right behind them. You know, Portland is trying to, stick around a bit. So we'll see how that works out and everything like that. But this looks to be a really good game tonight, probably the better game of the TNT schedule tonight, but we'll see how this one shapes up. I think that this game is an under game. I think we're going to get some defense played here in this spot. And you know that everybody's going to be excited about Jokic and Doncic going at it. So, you got a battle of the Jicks, you know what I mean? The Icks, guys that end last names end with IC. So it should be a good one. I like the under here. Let's see how it goes. And with that, we're going to go ahead. And when I get back, we're going to go ahead and jump into Talkin Tickets. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles Live, and I'm your host, the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into your favorite subject, my favorite subject, what we pulled up here for. And that's why we call this the Premier Sports Betting Show, because it's time for Talking Tickets. So pretty much let's jump into our first group, which is going to be the CBB PrimeTime PK6. Tonight we got Coppin State in a good spot, in my opinion. I think that Coppin State can always be trusted to get us a cover. Hey, and if the game is right, Coppin State can get you a win too. That's the thing about why I like Coppin State and dealing with Coppin State, is because they know how to go out there and play their butts off. That's all you need them to do. Play good basketball, go from there. It's that simple, man. It's not that complicated, to be honest with you. But they do have themselves a tough game against NC State. But NC State, I'm looking at how NC State rolls this year. They haven't really beat anybody by the amount that the Coppin State is actually, dogged at. They're plus 22. I'm looking at their last 5 games. Their biggest win was 21 against William and Mary. I think that Coppin State's just a little bit better than William and Mary, and they're gonna try to take the air out in this game. They're not gonna try to let NC State run up and down the floor on them either. So it should be good. And Coppin State is the 17th ranked team in the nation when it comes to points scored this season as well too. They're not averaging as many points per game as NC State, but overall they got 41 more points than they do. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But I like Coppin State in that spot tonight. And then we got the Battle of Georgia tonight, and that's going to be Georgia and Georgia Tech from the Thunderdome. And Georgia's coming in here 7-2. Georgia Tech 5-3. I haven't been impressed at all with anything that Georgia Tech has done this season. I know Georgia really hasn't played anybody, but I think all in all, that 7-2 and plus 165 make a lot of sense. And this game is always a game that can go either way. That's dead honest. You know what I mean? And the way that Georgia's confidence is up right now, I know they beat Eastern Tennessee, Hampton, and Florida A&M, but they got some confidence off those wins as well too. So we'll see how it goes, see how it shakes out, but I do like them in this spot tonight, so I'm taking them with the plus 165. And then we have Hodfoot tonight. Hodfoot is a team that I heard that's moving to Division III eventually, and they're going against St. Francis, Brooklyn tonight. And, I always love watching St. Francis and my boys LIU Brooklyn go at it. That's the battle of the BK right there. When those two hook up, but you got Hartford coming in here 4-7. You got St. Francis 3-4. St. Francis is really the favorite because they're at home, but that doesn't mean they're better than Hartford. It doesn't mean they're better than Hartford at all. So I like Hartford here, plus 7.5. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. I already told you guys that I do like Texas tonight, so I'm taking them with the minus 150 against Illinois. And then we have Vermont. Vermont is playing in a pretty good game tonight as well, too. Vermont's actually going against Dartmouth, and I think that they should be good for a win over this Ivy League school. So we'll see how that one shapes up and shakes out. And then we finish up with K-State tonight, who's at home, who's going against Abilene Christian. And Abilene Christian is proven to be tough when they're in conference play, but I don't know if they're going to be tough tonight against this Kansas State team that's absolutely been just destroying teams that aren't these powerful teams. So they're back at home tonight. They did win their last game by 5, but I think tonight with the lineup that they do have, they should be able to go ahead and handle their business against Abilene Christian, even though Abilene Christian is averaging 77 points a game to K-State 72.3. It doesn't really matter to me. I think K-State figures out a way to win this game by 20 or better. So there it is. That's the CBB PrimeTime PK6. 58-1. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. Now let's jump into the DogDay PK4. 57-1. We got American plus 150 to kick us off. Americans playing against Mount St. Mary's on the road. Then we got Eastern Carolina that's in a spot where they are it doesn't look right to me, where it's kind of funky. It's getting funky. East Carolina is in a spot where they shouldn't be this much of a dog. You know what I mean? Because they're not going against world beaters in their spot. You know what I mean? They're going against a pretty decent team that's I'm trying to, because I had it right here. You guys got to understand there's 61 games today. So pardon me. So pretty much you have East Carolina who going at it, and they're an American team as well too. So, it's tough for me to really think NC Wilmington is going to really rough them up today, because NC Wilmington's good, but come on. That East Carolina has talent there, and they just got a good win over Campbell a few days back. So, that was by 10, but they are having their little issues. They did lose to South Carolina State, and they did lose to Old Dominion as well too. So that just means to me that East Carolina should be all in this game tonight, because Wilmington, their last 3 games, they won by 2, 4, and 2. So, yeah, I think Eastern Carolina has a big shot to win this game tonight. And then we got Northern Iowa. They're going to be our home dog tonight. And I like Northern Iowa tonight. Northern Iowa can always be trusted. They're playing against Toledo as well, too, who's actually the favorite here. But I know Northern Iowa's only a dog because they're 3-4, but they're coming off of a nice 17-point win at home against Evansville. And I think that should be good coming into this game because you got a Toledo team that just lost by 7 to George Mason. So, yeah, let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. Should be a good one. And they've dropped their last 3 out of 5, but Northern Iowa has as well too, but they've won their last 2 out of 3. So there you go. There you go. Then we finish off with Northern Arizona here. They're going to be going against Pacific tonight. This should be a good game as well too. Pacific is not that good this season. They're 3-6. Northern Arizona is 3-7. I know that the Northern Arizona got bounced by Pepperdine the other day, but Pacific got bounced by Santa Barbara the other day. So we'll see how it goes, see how it shakes out. Both these teams have lost their last 4 out of 5. But one thing Pacific has over Northern Arizona beat Ottawa, and they beat UC Davis Pacific. So we'll see how it goes, see how it shakes out. But when I look at everything here, you have a Northern Arizona team that can stay right there with Pacific tonight. So that's why I like them a lot with the plus 210 because I know that Pacific is going to be an overbet tonight when they don't need to be. So let's move forward and finish up with the NBA at 9-1 tonight. We got the Lakers plus 170 tonight. I got them beating the Cavs. I don't care. I think LeBron goes in there. I know AD's been the guy the last few games, but I think LeBron wants to send a nice little message to his former team real quick that he's still the king and this is his MFing house. You know what I mean? You feel me? So I like LeBron with the plus 170 tonight. Lakers are giving out great value. And then I love the over 220 tonight with the Pistons and the Heat, as I said before. And then I love the under 223 with the Mavs and Nuggets in the game of the night. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But that is our talking tickets for today. So I thank you guys so much for tuning in. And I'm going to be all in your face in a moment as well, too. I'll be back in about 10 more minutes. I do have an interview coming up with Toka Khan Clary. He fought against Shakur Stevenson back in 2020. Just came off of winning a big-time fight on 11-19 as well, too. So we're going to talk to him today. And then we're going to bring in Jeremiah Dreamland Milton, who's going to be fighting on the Black Prime pay-per-view card that features that's headlined by Terrence Crawford, who's representing his hometown of Omaha, Nebraska, and he's going to try to go out there and have himself a day against Dave Avasian. So I got those coming in, and then also we may have my man Blue Blood, the actual one of the promoters for this Crawford fight coming up as well too, possibly coming in with us today at 2:30. So don't miss Sweet Science. It's going to be a lot of fun today. So there it is. There it is. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles Live with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper. I'll be back at you tomorrow at noon as well too. We'll be talking CFB, CBB, NBA. Y'all know what we do. And it's just simple as that. So let's go ahead. Keep cashing those tickets. You guys keep following. You guys subscribe to the YouTube as well, too. And you guys let's just keep getting the money. And if you are interested in being a client, you guys can hit me up at Pop DiBiase on the Twitter, or you guys can hit me up at DiBiaseWave_ on IG, or email me at primewavemedia at yahoo.com, and I'll get you guys situated, get you rolling with the 2023 squad. So we'll see how it goes. See how it goes. We'll see how it goes. But a big year is coming up. That's how I feel. But I feel like every year at the end of the year, we're going to have a big year. So, it is what it is. I'm not going to say it's my year. I'm just going to try to go ahead and be great at the things that I control. So it is what it is. Once again, this is the PrimeTime Angles Live with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper. And as I always say, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving, and I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.